I kid you not. I sat here for like an hour. Was like, do I want to make this video? What is up, Fin fans? It is currently 2 o'clock a.m. after the Bills game. And normally this is when I do my deeper dive / playoff update / blah, 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 blah. And I kid you not, I was sitting here, like I got something to eat, because the game ended at 11:30. Did the post game, and I was like, just defeated. But what I want to do in this video is I'm going to look at stats. Now, I'm not doing a season recap because the season's not over. So if the Dolphins lose to Kansas City, then I will do the season recap. We'll look at statistically the team and then their rankings when it comes to defense, offense, yada, yada, blah, 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 all that jazz. But this isn't a season recap. This is more of a deeper dive, and every deeper dive I kind of give you an idea of where they are at stats. Also, but I want to talk about what my expectations were for Tua and where he is. Talk a little bit more about Tua. But real quick, I want to give you somewhat of good news. Barry Jackson reported that Drew Rosenhaus reported, who is the agent for Andrew Van Ginkel, said the x-rays on Van Ginkel's foot is negative. Negative is a positive when it comes to that type of stuff. But he will get an MRI. Will he play versus the Chiefs? Probably not. Which means we literally have no pass rush. You got Emmanuel Ogbah and you got Melvin Ingram. Because good, he's done. He destroyed his knee. Vio Condios on him. So we have nobody. Will they go out and sign Justin Houston? Maybe. Will Justin Houston want to come and play for the Dolphins? I don't know. They got nothing. Will they bring JPP back? I don't know. I got nothing. News happens. Someone does get signed. You got to sign him now. If you want him to play versus Kansas City, you got to sign him like today and get that done. So if that does happen, I will give you guys the updates. But let's go over kind of the stats so far. Kind of the end of the year stats. But again, I'll reiterate this when I do the season recap. Tua Tagovailoa, 4,624 yards. He does have the passing title. He has the most passing yards in the NFL. 69.3 completion percentage is third. 29 touchdowns is fifth. 14 interceptions is fourth most. And he has 101 passer rating, which is fifth. Now, those numbers are good. First in yards, third in completion percentage, fifth in touchdowns, fifth in passer rating. That's top 5 quarterback. His knock is that he can't win the games in the clutch moments. And I get, and we will talk about it. Again, this is a deeper dive in the game. I get that there were drops. Some drops were to his fault. Not all of them. Some of them. And the interception at the end, a lot of people were saying Chase Claypool ran a sloppy out route. But when I look at the film, I got to see, was anyone else open? Because he did have the corner, the safety come down, and the corner was on Claypool. Kind of was double covered when the pass was thrown. I'll pop pictures up that I took while I was looking at it. But we'll break more of that down. I am going to do a film breakdown about this one. Not fully. It's not going to be long. But I am going to do somewhat of a film breakdown of that. But, he had a good season. Top 5 quarterback season statistically. I don't want to get too much into this because this is something I'm going to talk about when I do the season recap, because will we beat the Chiefs? If we beat the Chiefs, then this game's kind of forgiven because the Chiefs game is a little bit bigger than the Buffalo game. But yeah, let me just keep moving before I start talking about things I want to talk about in another video. I went back and I watched my Tua Tagovailoa projection video where I said, this is what I want Tua to do at the end of the year. First, I said I wanted him to play all 17 games. He did. He played a full healthy season. That is the biggest thing. Good for him. I said with that full healthy season, I want him to throw for 4,639 yards. He was 15 yards off from hitting where I wanted him to be. I'm not upset about that. I said I wanted his completion percentage to get a little bit better. I think at the time, I think last season he was at like 64%, 60 something percent. I said I want to go up a little bit, 67%. He exceeded my expectations, 69.3%. I said I wanted him to throw between 30 and 35 touchdowns. He hit 29. Kind of fell off on some games. He didn't do too well. But it's like one touchdown off of where I wanted him to be, and I said I wanted no more than 12 interceptions. Unfortunately, he threw 14 interceptions. If he didn't throw the 2 interceptions in yesterday's game, then he would have hit my quota. Overall, he hit my expectations. He's a little under yards, over-exceeded completion percentage, one touchdown under touchdowns, and over the interceptions. But I will give my full assessment on Tua and this season when the season's over. He'll get his own video. I have a lot of videos. Hopefully the season's not over for another 4 or 5 weeks. You get my point. Will it be? I don't know. I'm feeling very pessimistic right now. Raheem Mostert, after playing only 15 games, he had 1,012 rushing yards, which is still 10th in the NFL. So he's a top 10 running back, and he missed 2 games. And 18 touchdowns. Number 1 in the NFL. Pretty good. Devon Achane, 800 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns, tied for 9th in the NFL, and he missed a buttload of games. So, that being said, if Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert played 17 games, we would have had 2 1,000-yard rushers. Just think about that. Tyreek Hill, 1,799 yards. He was 201 yards off of the record of 2K that he wanted to hit, but he's still number 1 in the NFL in receiving yards with 1,799, and he's tied for first with Mike Evans with 13 touchdowns, and he missed the game. So you could just imagine if he didn't miss that game, could he have gotten 201 yards? Possibly. What game did he miss? Cowboys game? Cowboys game. Was it the Cowboys game? I think it was the Cowboys game. Jalen Waddle, 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he only played 14 games. Again, so we had 2,000-yard receivers. Could have had 2,000-yard rushers and a 4,600-yard passer. The offense was good. A lot of people want to equate that to us playing bad teams, and we inflated our stats because of the bad teams we played. Good teams didn't do as well against bad teams. We'll talk about that in the season recap. On the defensive side, a very up and down season. Some games they played really well. Some games they didn't play really well. We have 2 players on this team with double-digit sacks, and Bradley Chubb with 11, and Zach Seiler with 10. And then we have Christian Wilkins with 9. And then I think Phillips ended with 6.5, which I think if he never got injured, he definitely would have broke 11. The ifs and buts and all that stuff with this team, if they would have stayed healthy, it's just a world of a difference. Just an absolute world of a difference. But again, being able to sit and marinate about last night's game, it's again those games where the better team wins because they know how to finish, if that makes any sense. Like Kansas City. We held them to no points in the second half, but we couldn't get the ball going in the first half. And then we had the turnovers. And then we had the bad play on the 31-yard line. Philly, that wasn't a blowout. We were in it for most of the game, but it was the interceptions. It was the penalties. The penalties. I'm not going to talk about penalties with Philly. Tennessee, you're up 15. Can't finish the game. 3 minutes left in the game. That's what it equates to, and you can't sit here and say, we're a young team, and we'll learn, and we'll continue to grow, and blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 boom. Because we're back-to-back winning seasons, back-to-back playoff appearances. At some point, you gotta get better. Now, statistically and win-loss, we have gotten better. We haven't in the fact that we choked a 3-game lead on the division. But we're 11-6. I predict us to go 12-5. It wasn't that far off. I think the one loss that I thought we would have won was the Tennessee game. No, and I also think we would have split with Buffalo. But you got to show your progression. And it seems like big games late in the season, they can't get it done. And again, I'm able to calm down, sit back, and look at this rationally. And it's like there's been something holding this team back for the past. And it's not really decades, because there were times where we, like 2016, 2008, where we were able to do it in the late games and the big games. But it's like lately, the Buffalo game, Tua's rookie year 2020, the Tennessee game. It's these games where you're supposed, last year we had multiple, we lost 5 in a row. This year we just lost 2 in a row. And it's just, there's a common denominator of what is holding us back from winning these big games in the clutch moments. People want to say Tua. I don't know how many times you have to say, well, this is where you shut up the haters, Tua, because I said it against the Ravens, and he didn't play well against the Ravens. And I said it against the Bills, and he played well for the first half against the Bills, and I understand there were drops. But also, like, the pass to Tyreek Hill, which he, threw it expecting Tyreek Hill to be a 6'3", 6'2" wide receiver, and he's 5'10". You can't be throwing those passes to Tyreek Hill. He's just not that type of receiver. He still got up there and tried to catch it, but then again, the crossing route where he dropped the ball, and then we got the pass interference. I understand it was a touchdown, but also he got a pass interference. Still should have caught it. But there's still plays where he's sailing it here and he's sailing it there, and put the team on your back. Go out there, get the win. We've seen Josh Allen do it. Hell, he did it against the Dolphins. We've seen Joe Burrow do it. We haven't seen Justin Herbert do it necessarily. I don't watch much of Justin Herbert because he isn't in the limelight a lot. Whereas Joe Burrow, I've seen him in the playoffs, and I've seen him in certain situations. Lamar Jackson. We've seen these guys, these top quarterback guys. Patrick Mahomes, 13 seconds left. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Tua has had opportunities, and of course there's obstacles that seem to be in his way in those opportunities, but you got to get past them. You got to do what you got to do. Drop back. You drop back, you look, you notice Chase Claypool seems to be a little sluggish on his route. Let me go to my next read. You don't have to. I can make that throw. We know you can make that throw, but it's 2nd and 10. You got a minute something left. It's not about, let me push this just because, again, I'll break down the film, but Barrios was open. You could have got the first down, kept it moving. So many plays where it's like, just don't force it. And there's a few times he forced it. A few times he threw into double coverage again. Is he a bad quarterback? No. And again, I'm going to go more into this when I look at Mike McDaniel, when I look at Tua, when I look at the defense, all that stuff. We recap the season. I don't think Tua's a bad quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. You might not, by all means, feel that way. But his play showed it, and his stats have showed it. But he's not, as of right now, and again, we'll see what happens with Kansas City. As of right now, he has shown he is not the type of quarterback that is going to win you the game with his arm in meaningful games. Let me preference that, because he has done it. He did it against the Bills last year. He did it against the Ravens last year. He has done it. But late in the year, where we need you to step up, help us win the division, help us win a playoff game. Well, the playoff game we'll find out next week. But a division, or a December game, January game, he hasn't done it yet. So we'll see. We got next week, man. The Chiefs aren't as dangerous as the Bills are. The Chiefs have wide receivers who have bricks for hands. Travis Kelce isn't playing as crazy as Travis Kelce normally plays. And their defense is good, but hopefully we get back Waddle and Mostert and potentially X. It's going to be cold. There's been people who wanted to lose so we didn't have to play Buffalo again. Well, now your road to the Super Bowl is Kansas City, and then if you beat Kansas City, you have to go back to Baltimore and face the team that beat the crap out of you. Versus you flip it around, you're home for the Bills and you're home for the Chiefs possibly. And then you go to Baltimore. Different road, but hey, you want it, you get it. Playoffs, anything could happen. But yeah, I thought I, kind of give you more of my thoughts. And, I sat down and thought about this game a little bit more. And, I'm not really mad about the defense. There was some mishaps and there was some mistakes, but if the offense took advantage of the opportunities the defense gave them, I think the Dolphins would have blown the Bills out. I think it wouldn't have even been a contest. It's 14-7 going into the fourth quarter. I think we would have blown them out. I think it could have been 28-7 going into the fourth quarter, and they were running around with a chicken with their heads cut off. But I don't think it's the defense's fault. Play calling, quarterback play, drops, not the offensive line's fault, not the running back's fault, special teams. That's where I blame. Drops, quarterback play, head coach, play calling. Comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to break down the film. It's not going to be extensive. It's not going to be in depth. I'm probably going to break down second half of the game. So that's what we'll look at, kind of see where the mess ups were here and there. 20-minute video. I'm not making a long film breakdown video. Then I'm going to pick the wild card games. Then we will do a preview. And then Saturday night now, short week for the Dolphins. Have to travel to KC. It's going to be cold. We'll see how they pan out. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.